Welcome back. My name is Owen Wilson, and this is the weekly review video for the week of July 7th. And this is part of the series, The Truth of Winning in Internet Money. If you look on my channel, most of the videos are live trading, daily live trading. And that's to make sure that you all, there's full transparency with my daily raw executions and results. But this channel was actually created based on these weekly review videos. When I first had the idea to create this channel, I wasn't yet thinking, oh, I'm going to show my daily live trading, because I didn't want it to be a trading education channel, and it will never be a trading education channel. However, I realized quickly, it was like, oh, but I should show like the raw execution, so that when I am going through these weekly reviews, people can go back and see what it is that I'm talking about. So like the series suggests, the purpose of me creating this channel is to reveal the truth of what it means to successfully build an internet money business. And I'm a day trader, and so with that comes full transparency with my results on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and the problem solving that I do to get different results over time. I think internet money, I think a lot of people come into it with the idea that it's easy money. But the truth is that it's a business like any other business, no matter if you're whatever, way that you're making money online. I'm just showing it through the lens of day trading, but the fundamentals of problem solving, revenue and expense are, very similar no matter what business you're in. And, I just keep seeing in the space, and as when a few years ago when I started trading, just from the very beginning, it's like all I would see would be the wins. People just showing the wins, or they might show in the past, in hindsight, that they took losses, but it's like, now look at where I am. Now I win. But it's like, what about showing the actual process from a place where more people are at, and then taking it to the place where we all want to be, right? And it comes down to that place that we all want to be is a place of real result, like where you're actually making money over time. But what I've learned is that those results and how you get there is it's both beautiful and ugly, right? There's wins, there are losses, there's winning streaks, there's losing streaks. Sometimes you're going to be on point, sometimes you're not going to be on point in terms of your problem solving. And, like today, I'll share ways that I've kind of changed the lens of how I'm problem solving. These are all the things that, this is a live take, not just live take in these videos where I don't cut anything, again, just for transparency and honesty. Like my daily live trading videos, I don't cut anything. These, I don't cut anything. But it's actually a live of my life, and taking my business, to where I will take it, and keeping it there too. That's the other thing that I will show as well, is not just like, building a business up to being very successful. It's also like, how do you stay at the top and continue to get that result and improve and make those very small tweaks. It's just, these are the kinds of things that aren't showed, and that I want to make sure is showed. So with that being said, I am going to get into the weekly review. So I'm going to hop onto Loom and then take you all through the way that I'm seeing, the results for my week, kind of how I changed throughout the week, because I make iterations on a daily basis, I make iterations on a weekly basis. So that'll encompass a lot of just all of that. So welcome to the trading dashboard. So the three main questions I ask myself on a weekly basis, just for the performance review, is what did I do well this week? Where did I fall short? And then what is the 1% tweak that I'm going to make for next week. So this week was, it's been somewhere around like 3 weeks now of break-even weeks. This is it is profitable, by a small amount, but it is still break-even. So I'll just show the trades briefly. So Monday, took one long and lost on a trailing stop. Tuesday took 3 trades, and one of them lost on a trailing stop, and that was about as big as it's getting close to about as big as my losing days get. And then Thursday, no trade on Wednesday, and then Thursday I took a full winning trade. So in terms of what did I do well this week? So I'm actually gonna start with where did I fall short, because this is focused at the beginning of the week. I had to do with this Tuesday when I really was aware of this. So I noticed after Tuesday, like after I was done with this session, I was like, I'm continuing to try and outsmart my system. I have my system here. Again, just, everything that I do is written out in a document, and I follow this as a system. It's not mechanical, but it does have systems for how I do things on a daily basis. And Tuesday was a day where, again, I made a decision against the system. And I was like, I don't believe that anybody with the right mind would, say, I want to be a successful day trader. It's like, okay. And I know what I need to do to get there. Okay. You would be insane to not do what you know you need to do. You would be insane. It would be literal insanity. It's like there's something missing there. Either you don't want to be a successful day trader, or you don't know what to do to get there, or a third thing would be you're just unaware of what you're doing, which is, for me, I think there's a lot of that, and I've been focusing very deeply on increasing my awareness and my focus, and just asking myself why. So like, why did I'll tell you here. So like, this first trade was valid per the system. These other two are like valid technically, in terms of technical analysis, they were valid. However, they were low risk opportunities taken during a low risk time of day. And when that happens, my system, I've defined it in there to where I don't take those trades, because I would have to cut risk so low that it just doesn't make any sense to take it. Because it's low risk already, technical analysis wise, it's low risk. And then on top of it, it's a low risk time of day. So I'm like, well, it's just don't take it. But I still took them. And I asked myself, like, well, why? Well, I felt that if I didn't take them, I would be a bad trader. And it's like, well, why did I feel like I would be a bad trader? Because I quoted myself, it's not exactly what I thought, but it's close. It's like, because I saw an opportunity, but my rules kept me from taking it. Great traders know when to break their rules. And that was me confusing intellect with focus and consciousness applied to a plan. That's why I call my plan Apply Consciousness. So I was confusing if I was like, what great traders do is they have a plan, but then they use their intellect to know when to do something different. But what actually great traders do is they have a plan and they use their consciousness to focus and only execute trades within that system. And like, while I would say like, oh yeah, like I know that, it's like, well, clearly, I was unaware in some aspect of that. So that's where I fell short this week. And so but I noticed this earlier in the week. And so this is where my problem solving system then changed. So what I did well this week is I moved away, or I moved focus away from gaining knowledge and instead shifted it to learning. And what I mean by this is, instead of finding solutions with the goal of increasing intellectual complication to try and, outsmart, I found solutions based on intellectual simplification, but instead challenging my focus and actually applying those concepts, right? Because it's the application of knowledge that leads to learning. So for me, it's then, okay, let me what I did is I revised my trade plan. Maybe it would be good to show it before, but just understand, when I say revised, like, it's not that I changed it, but I simplified it down to, like, okay, I just asked myself, it's like, what are the most fundamental components of what I'm doing? What am I, like, truly doing? Like, at the most fundamental, simple core, what am I doing? And so, I brought it back to market maker models, movements between higher time frame liquidity points, and just gauging a reaction. And what did that mean? It's like, okay, I'm gauging, because 9:30 is a high volume time, the highest volume time of day in futures. I've noticed over time, this is when the smart money reversal, this is when the transition point of a market maker model between higher time frame liquidity points almost always occurs, and it almost always occurs at a time-based liquidity point, because that's where all this volume can be held. This is where all that interaction is going to be able to happen, is because there's liquidity there. And so what do? I use those points as, then when I drop down to a 1 minute time frame, a lower time frame, I use that as a way of gauging these larger 15-minute reversals from 4-hour liquidity points. So it comes back to time frame alignment. So just doing that, and then going back through and very simplifying, like, what am I actually looking for in a reversal? Instead of having tons of words, like, what am I truly looking for on the deepest, most simple, not intellectually challenging, but simple level? And then how do I do it? All those aspects. And so I was like, okay. And then what I then shifted my focus to doing was practicing those concepts. So instead of making my goal to overcomplicate and add intellectual challenge, it's like, okay, I'm going to simplify this intellect, and now I'm going to focus on applying it. That's how I'm actually going to learn. And no matter if I think that I know it super well or not, I'm going to prove that over time by just by doing it. Because, like, I asked myself the question, it's like how would Michael Jordan, like, how would he prepare? I was like, okay, like, he would shoot the same shot, like, 1,000 times over again, and do that 1,000 times over again. Well, that's what I'm doing. So, like, for an example, then, well, what is it that I do? Well, I'll bring you through an example of me just practicing the most simple things. So in this case, this was on Wednesday. This reversal happened after my updated trade time. So I didn't take this trade, but I still used it as an opportunity after market hours to practice gauging a reaction. So I just go to my reactions. This is a reversal reaction. And so I just, like, look at the criteria of it. I'm like, okay, so we traded into the key level, previous weekly high. Traded in. And when do I start looking for the price action created? Well, I start looking for the price action created the moment that this previous weekly high was tapped. Okay, so it's been traded into, it creates a high, and it sweeps it. And then what does it do? It pushes away with a fair value gap. Okay, so now we have a sweep of liquidity and displacement. And the moment that this changes in the state of delivery and this inverted fair value gap occurs, now you have order flow, bearish order flow, and bearish displacement. But I remember noticing, just while I was live trading, like if we did have a reversal, given this extreme move up, I would want to see an extra confirmation. And I have this defined as what I look for. It's like, okay, so we have bearish order flow, bearish displacement, and a sweep of liquidity. That's everything for just a normal reaction. You'd enter here, stop loss. Would be at the beginning of the displacement, which I would say is right there. And then target is what I think it was just down at the bottom of this market maker, or somewhere down here, but would have taken it way before, like probably in here, got trailed out. But there's like a 4-hour liquidity point down here. Anyway, the purpose of though is like, okay, so that's what it would be. But it's like, okay, wait for extra confirmation. So what do you do? Well, I look at that first combination of bearish order flow, bearish displacement, and I ask, how does price react to it? Price comes back into that bearish displacement, the bearish fair value gap, and it inverts it. Well, that's not bearish, okay. But then what does it do? It then reclaims it, and it changes the state of delivery. But yes, let me look here. One other thing I was noticing, but yeah, anyways, I'm going to just keep it like that. It reclaimed it, changed the state of delivery. You know, again, you can look, change the state of delivery again. I focus on it more as like, once it was reclaimed, it's like, okay, now what happens? Okay, change the state of delivery. And so like this is an example of like, okay, like extra confirmation, that's where it would have been stop loss at the beginning of displacement, and then you know, targeting further down. That was a bit clunky, but the idea is like just going through, and that's just it. It's like, that was a bit clunky. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's like, I still like, yes, I may understand it, but it's like, it should just be like, basically the way that I'm saying it is like, I'm repeating the most simple fundamental aspects of the game until they dissolve within me. And so that's like the true learning, to where it's just like, I don't have to think at all. And then it's like, and then the goal is to, not even the goal, like you just must not think while you're trading, because everything is just so ingrained within me and my system. So yeah, so it's like, you know, first confirmation entry, or first full confirmation entry was here. We'll wait and get a little more because of this level of movement down. And it's like, okay, cool. You know, that's what it would look like. And then just doing that over and over, like literally like, and then doing it again. Like going and then literally just doing it again. You know, in a way it sounds like insane, but it's like, I mean, is it insane to shoot the same shot 1,000 times over? You're like, oh, but I made the shot one time. Okay. Does that mean that you like are a master at the shot? It actually comes down to humility, really. It comes down to humility. And like, for me, it's like just making sure, allowing the game to teach you. That's what I mean by humility. So it's like, just keep shooting that shot, you know, over and over again. That's basically what I came to in that decision. All right. So then, what is the 1% tweak I'll make for next week? So I already created, I call them as strategic habits. Create strategic habits based on focus, right? So there are different focus zones. So starting the day with the deepest focus, then moving to light focus and tasks to help recover from that trading space, from that very, very deep work, and then moving back to deep work, very intense gym work as well, and then having a meditative reflective zone at the end of the day. And so I have different practices, things that I'm doing over and over again, very just basics, fundamentals. Asking myself to simplify. For example, before, just for like my ideal outcomes for the day, what I'm doing now is just asking, what is the most obvious thing to do today? It's like, again, reducing complication. Some of the repetition here, it's a repetition of my trade plan, just practicing each component, going over the logic of each system, marking up the chart over and over and over and over and over again. This pattern from presence practice, it's very simple. I literally just go on TradeZella with a 1 second playback speed. So like that's the actual playback speed of the chart, like in real time. And I just watch 10 minutes of opening price. And it feels like so slow. But that's just because, I'm in a more maybe conscious state, not as amped and that's, the open. But like the whole point of it is and I'm not analyzing the price. The whole point is to feel the rhythm of, like it says, time and movement of the price. And then I just describe it. I give 3 words and I describe it. But doing that every day to sit and be like, okay, like this is what the timing actually is like, when I'm in a more conscious state. Same thing with like the gym, just like taking one exercise and applying 100% of my focus to that exercise. Now, I think like it's important to do that really with every exercise, but like taking one exercise specifically and just like locking the fuck in, like so locking the fuck in to where, and it's just like so bare bones basic, make it an absolutely basic exercise, super simple form, but just perfect that. This is what my preparation is now. Instead of like, what are different scenarios that I can, create for all these different types of reactions so that I, just overcomplicating based on different events instead of just focusing on the fundamentals of the system and then practicing those. So that was really long rant to get around to. I was asking, what is the 1% tweak I'll make for next week? So I already made that tweak midweek, so I'm making another tweak. And this is a very simple thing, but I just noticed that this week I tended towards, or like I was complaining a little bit more than I normally would. Or maybe it's that I just was becoming more aware of it. All this practice of awareness and applying my consciousness. Maybe I was just becoming more aware of the fact that I was complaining. Either way, cool. What I'm going to do is bring more awareness to my complaining and cut it faster. Because, complaining has just absolutely no aid in my success. One thing I want to talk about too, just that I've kind of on a similar note, it's just anything consciousness related is a similar note in this. One thing that I've been doing that has been very, very helpful, and that I'm going to continue as one of my main systems, is focusing on winning the day and then focusing on winning the night. So in terms of focusing on winning the day, I realized that like any concept other than today is just an illusion. So if I'm, going to come in today, a lot of times if I wake up tired or complaining, right? I'm tired and I don't feel my most optimal. I'm like, I just want to, like in a fucking bar replay in bag testing, I just want to skip today and just go the next day. And it's like, but I realize it's like, but there is no such thing. Like, and so what I have to do, or not have to do, like what I will do instead and have been doing is reminding myself in the morning, it's like, focus on winning today. Because today's all that I have. And that brings me an energy. It brings me an energy that I then take throughout the rest of my day where I'm like, this is like literally my one opportunity. Today is my one opportunity, And I know that if I win today, I will win the week, I will win the month, I will win the year. I mean, motherfucker, you win a year, like, crazy shit happens if you win a year. I think, like, even if you win 6 months, I mean, I think a lot of people, that's when, they go from broke to millionaires just in a 6-month period where they won every day. Like, they won every day. So, for me, it's like, okay, long-term thinking is actually focusing on the present. Because if you trust in the long term, that allows you to focus in the present. And so focus on winning the day. And that's what I just keep reminding myself. And then, again, it brings an energy to everything that I do. Do I decide to eat shitty food, or do I decide to eat something healthy? Do I decide to go to the gym, or do I decide to not? Do I decide to give my all to this reflection, or do I decide to do it half-assed? Well, it's like, this is my one opportunity. And it's if I win the day, I win the week, I win the month, I win the year. And so I think it's a very, very, and I just went live. I think it's very, very helpful. I know it's a very helpful way of viewing life. The same goes for the night. It's like, do I get to bed on time, or do I continue this work and sacrifice my sleep? It's like, well, I'm going to get to bed on time, because if I win tonight, I win each night of the week. I win each night of the month, and basically every day that I'm setting up to win, I'm waking up restored every single day. So just like very, very, like, this is what I'm talking about, like, super simple thing. It's just focus on winning the day and focus on winning the night, but it's been completely changing the way that it's been completely changing the way that I approach both. So I think that is it for this weekly review. I actually did make it shorter this time, which is cool. Not much shorter, but a little bit. My goal is not to make it shorter, to be honest. I just do like to see when it's not super, super long. Because I'm just going to share, like, what is the truth of what I've been reflecting on. I'm going to share that. And then, yeah, it's as simple as that. All right, so I was just going to film an outro video, but I don't need to do that since I'm right on here. So, yeah, that is it for this weekly review, and I look forward to sharing my results from this coming week.